So as we move into a new month, everyone is wondering the same thing. Is September going to be bullish or bearish for Bitcoin? In this video, we're going to be going over the data to look at how Bitcoin has performed in September historically and where we could end up if things get a little bit messy. Let's get into it. Starting with some data then, this is all on CoinGlass. If you just type into Google Bitcoin monthly returns, it will be the first search that comes up, but there's plenty of data on this website outside of this, so it is a pretty cool website. Go check it out. But let's take a look at the Bitcoin monthly returns in percentages though, and if we take a look at September, you can see it's a bit of a wishy-washy month. The majority of the time it is bearish though, as you can see. So you got 1, 2, 3 green years and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bearish September years. And as you can see at the bottom, we've got the average and median return, so minus 4.5% more or less on both of those. So not too great, but at the same time not too terrible either. I mean, the worst year we've had was back in 2014, which is a minus 19%. Outside of that, they've all been single figures apart from 2019, which was a minus 13%. So not a great month, but also not a terrible month for crypto there. And then if we take a look at the quarterly returns, again, if we take a look at Q3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green quarters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 red quarters. So again, Q3 not that favorable either, but again, the returns not that terrible. So the average return is plus 5.36%. The median return is a minus 4.81%. So again, not terrible, but also not great. The big one though to look out for is Q4, which as you can see is an absolutely huge quarter for Bitcoin performance. So the average return on Q4 is 88.84% and the median is 56.9%. And you can see these huge returns in Q4 as well. So obviously 2013, all the way back in the day, a massive 479%. 2017, another outlier at 215%, and then more recently, of course, 2020 with 168% return. And as you can see, we've not really had a brilliant Q4 since then. 56% last year, 2023, not too bad. So is this Q4 going to be the big one? Are we going to have a bit of a lull, a bit of a sideways, maybe red September, and then go into Q4 and everything flips bullish? That's what the data seems to suggest, but of course, previous performance can't guarantee or predict future performance, so we'll just have to wait and see. But at the moment, that is looking like what could potentially happen. Let's get back to this. Oh, in fact, before we move on, there is also this added confluence as well. So this was tweeted by the boss, Market Mobster. The S&P has actually had its worst month in the last 5 years in September. So as you can see, the index is up 4.2% on average in September over the past 5 years, which is the worst performing month in the last 5 years. So going into this month, obviously the data suggests that it's not a great month for Bitcoin or the S&P. And if we just stick on topic for the S&P just for a second, we can see that it's obviously trying to push for new all-time highs as we speak. So the US market is closed today due to Labor Day, but as you can see, we are only a few points away from breaking new all-time highs on the S&P. So the question is the S&P going to break new all-time highs and drag crypto with it, or is it going to reject and again drag crypto back down? And the S&P and Bitcoin have terrible Septembers, ready to gear up for a bullish Q4. Let's get into the charts with Bitcoin then, and let's start with the monthly time frame. So as we talked about on Friday, we didn't get the monthly close we were hoping for. So we were talking about a close above this level here, about 60.7k, which would have kept us in check with all the previous monthly closes we've had this year. So this is the first monthly close we've had below 60k since we got up here in February. So not a great look. However, we do have this final line in the sand here at about 58.7k. So this was the top of the monthly candles back in March and April 2021, the candle closes. We then deviated this level when we made new all-time highs in October and November of 2021. And that was obviously the signal for the bear market starting. If only we all knew that at the time. But deviated that level, bearish retest in December. And then, of course, we went all the way down to the bear market lows of 16k. So a fairly significant level. And, of course, we've not closed below this as I say, since we got up here in February. So we've had plenty of wicks bouncing off it, and at the moment we are just about clinging on to this level of support. If we were to lose this, then a retest of 47.4k seems very likely indeed. Obviously, this was previous resistance, looking to hold as support if we get down that, which would also coincide with a retest of the moving average 21 on the monthly time frame. If we break it down to the weekly, again, not a favorable weekly close at all. Very bearish weekly candle, literally no wicks at all, almost, and close below 60k on the weekly time frame, close below the weekly moving average 21, and we're just in this big chop zone at the moment. No real clear indication of which way we're going to go. We have closed, as I say, below 60k, so my personal feeling is we may well push up into 60, 61k, retest the moving average 21, roll over, and then come down and retest 52k. If we lose that level, then down to 45k in my opinion. Or of course, if we do manage to break up, if the S&P maybe makes new all-time highs, and you know the market deceives us, everyone thinking that September is going to be bearish and Q4 is going to be bullish, maybe it springs a trap and you know it gets bullish even earlier. In which case, break over the top of 60.4k, get back above the moving average 21, and continue to trend. If we move on to the daily time frame, this is where I've got added confluence in terms of why I think we may hit 60 to 61k before turning around and rejecting. So up here we've got the daily moving average 21 up at around 60k, and also we've got a daily fair value gap as well. So I'm thinking that would be an ideal place for a short. We're bouncing off support at the moment here at 57.3k. We've used this level as previous support and resistance in the past, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a bounce here, retest the moving average 21, reject off this daily FVG and weekly level of 60k, and then roll over down to 52k. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on as my main scenario. In terms of Ethereum, not too much to talk about on the monthly, apart from the fact that we have closed below the moving average 21, although I don't really use the moving average too much on the monthly time frame. It's a little bit slow. What I'd ideally like to see is a test of 2k, this previous monthly range high, as support, bounce off that, and rally off of that. And it would also coincide with a retest of the RSI 50 as well. So if we get that, happy days. In terms of the weekly, again, another very bearish weekly candle and a candle close as well. We closed below 2.5k, looking at a potential bearish retest here this week. So unless we can deviate this level, get a weekly close back above 2500, then it's likely we form another lower high and then roll over down to 2k. In terms of the daily time frame, again, similar to BTC, we've got a couple of daily FVGs alongside the moving average 21. So again, if price stalls here up around 2555, rejects off the daily moving average, rolls over, then I think we may well see 2177 followed by 2k. Of course, a break below 2422 would signal a break of structure, making lower lows, and make that move even more likely. In terms of the bullish scenario, obviously we need to get back above, break through these FVGs, get back above the daily moving average 21, start trending, and get a daily close back above 2719. Then on the weekly time frame, obviously make our way up to that 2864 level, get above that, and then we've got to contend with the daily moving average 21. But as you can see, both Bitcoin and Ethereum, the momentum and strength is currently with the bears. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. In terms of the indexes, so ETH BTC, we take a look at the monthly, we are very close to that big level of support at 0.04, very important level. If we break below that, then it's going to be a lot more blood in terms of the altcoins, and Bitcoin dominance continues to climb. As we can see, it's at big resistance at the moment, around 57, 58%. But if this has another breakthrough, then as I say, that's going to send ETH BTC lower, and altcoins are going to bleed even more, can you believe, in their Bitcoin pairs. So what we're really looking for an alt season, as we've talked about before, is Bitcoin dominance to top out, start rolling over, ETH BTC to rally, and then the altcoins will rally against their BTC pairings. But at the moment, dominance remains strong and high. In terms of the total 2 as well, another big indicator for altcoin strength. Let's get rid of that. So this is the total market cap excluding BTC. I talked about this, I think it was 2 weeks ago, warning about the fact that we had broken below 940 billion, key level of previous support and resistance. You can see the amount of time it's been tested and respected. We came up, had a bearish retest 2 weeks ago, also had a bearish retest of the weekly moving average 21 and the RSI 50, and we have rejected. So best case scenario, or best idea, is wait for that sign of strength in both the ETH BTC chart and the total 2 chart. If we get a weekly candle close back above 940 billion, back above the moving average 21, and Bitcoin dominance starts to roll over and ETH BTC starts to rally, that would be a really good time to potentially look at moving some Bitcoin into the altcoins and growing your Bitcoin stack. Speaking of which, there are some alt BTC pairs that are very close or already at some very interesting levels that you could potentially look at as Bitcoin builders. If we take a look at 88 on the monthly, talked about this a long time ago, in a big range here with a monthly range low at 474 sats, range high at 1,944, and you can see we are very close to tapping this monthly range low that we've not been at since January of 2021. So potential area there, as I say, best case or best plan, wait for this to come, test that support, and then wait to see the confirmation of a Bitcoin dominance drop in, ETH BTC rallying, and as I said as well, total 2 showing signs of strength as well. AVAX BTC, again, big area of interest here at 3,200 sats. You can see the big bounce we had off this back in October, November of 2023. Let's just get a percentage on that. So that rallied 250% the last time we bounced off this level, and back in the last bull run of 2021, from this point it rallied 700%. So clearly a big level of support. As I say, getting close to it, keep your eye on it, set an alert, and then watch out for those other signs of strength. Link BTC, 1,800 sats, we're right on it at the moment, currently trading just below it, but you can see big level of previous support here in August and September 2019, tapped it again in June 2023 and rallied, let's take a look, rallied about 150%, and now we're testing it again here. So again, something to keep an eye on. Matic BTC coming down to this huge level, 573 sats. I remember back in the last cycle, 2019, when we were trading in the hundreds of sats, and then of course Matic went up, did a madness, went up to almost 7,000 sats. So coming down to this big level support at 573. Who knows? It's either going to bounce off this level or it's going to die, and they're the kind of levels you want to be interested in potentially buying. As I say, just be cautious, not financial advice. Wait for those confirmations as well. But yeah, definitely an area of interest to potentially pick up a bag, and if it breaks to that level, then so be it, cut your losses. But if it does bounce, it will probably bounce a long way, potentially all the way up to this level here. Previous support now probably flipped to resistance at 1,722. So if it were to bounce, that is a 200% return on your Bitcoin, not too bad at all. And then finally, Vechain, that is a really good performer historically in its BTC pair in previous cycles. You can't see the 2017 cycle on this chart, but it was pretty good. And this is the last cycle where you can see we rallied, from this point back in October 2019 up to the peak, 1,250%, which is huge. So again, down here at around 35 sats, even if we just bounce from the range low up to the range high, that's still an 87% return on your Bitcoin. So as I say, keep an eye out for those levels and then watch for the signs of strength in the alt market with a declining Bitcoin dominance, a rising ETH BTC, and strength in the total 2 chart as well. So hope you enjoyed the video, hope you found it useful. Drop in the comments below what you think is going to happen in September and Q4, and what altcoins are you watching for potential Bitcoin builders if we are to get an altcoin season, which it doesn't feel like at the moment, but I'm sure there is one around the corner.